So, what is it about your vision that aligned with Drewes and where you wanted to go?
The first thing which comes to my mind straight away is a hunger to grow.
I think this is manipulated.
So, Patrick, you have moved on India as well as Vietnam, and my question is why now? What do you see in these markets that probably your competition is missing right now?
First of all, from a GDP perspective, Vietnam and India are one of the fastest growing economies in the world.
So, I think it's just sort of getting the best of both worlds and sort of going together to make sure that the desired outcome is coming.
We want to offer the full scope and with the best service and quality.
Hi everyone, this is Shreya from BuildWithShreya, where ideas and stories inspire you to build something extraordinary. We are trying a very new format called the Road Less Taken, where we have a very interesting game laid out, and we are having guests from Drewes, which is a 100-year-old logistics company based out of Germany. And today I want to just take this chance to introduce this game for you that our team has so relentlessly created. So as we can see here, it is, the start point is New Delhi and the goal is to reach the finish line at LA. And there are different routes through the world where a person can sort of navigate and get there. If you're somebody who is superbly enthusiastic about technology or learning about different industries, different countries in the world, and how companies are adopting technology in the current times, what are the gaps and areas of innovation, do not forget to like, subscribe, comment on our channel, and also share with your friends. Today, I have the entire Drewes team with me, where we have Patrick, Thomas, Sascha, and Sundresh. So Drewes is a 100-year-old Bremen firm into logistics, and in 2026, it's sort of going into Southeast Asia and is also expanding in India. So Patrick, I wanted to understand that at what point did you decide that inheriting the family firm wasn't enough and you really wanted to rebuild it from scratch?
Basically, this was not a decision I made, it was more or less a development. So there was the opportunity to step into a company which was an investment by our family. We had a shipping background, and the company was in a problematic situation. So I stepped in, being a student, just finishing my PhD, and besides that, I started to support and to develop this forwarding shop in Bremen. This is already now close to 20 years ago, and I'm still there.
Perfect. So, Patrick, we would like to sort of inaugurate this game, which is called the Road Less Taken. And I'd like you to roll the first dice and make the first move. So that's 2. Okay.
I think this is manipulated, the dice.
This is so it's one.
But we're in forwarding, that's normal. We're used to it.
So Patrick's car moves 2 stations.
So there's 1 and there's 2. Yeah, right.
So it's
So Sundresh, you spent 12 years building in India, 52 people, 7 cities, and there's a point where Drewes happened. So what is it about your vision that aligned with Drewes and where you wanted to go?
I think the first thing which comes to my mind straight away is a hunger to grow, and I think also their belief in India as a region in the market. As we know, globally, India is really growing up with our numbers, whether it's GDP, whether it's our export numbers or inbound or our domestic consumption. Over years, a lot of German companies have set up shops in India, and I think the alignment really was that they connected with the same vision that we have, or the positive attitude that we have that India's can grow. I think that's what really aligned with us, and probably that's where Patrick and I came together to take it up forward.
And this is your die and your chance.
All right. I get a 3, so I get 1 ahead of him. There you go.
So Thomas and Sascha, you are the ones who are making the integrations on ground. And the difference between a successful logistics and an unsuccessful one is actually the cargo arriving or not arriving. So when Sundresh's team actually came in, what was one Drewes way that got challenged as per you?
I mean, as you know, we are in project forwarding, which means we are working in an environment requiring a very high service level. And what I really like here is that the colleagues in India are really working with passion. You can see and feel this every day. But you need also some patience and also to adapt to the requirements we have. And this is a bit challenging. And we still have to adapt it, but we're on a good way. And and it's one also of my main responsibilities to transfer our knowledge, to support the local team here, to as Sundresh mentioned, taking the next steps to go into this business.
100%, I can agree on that. It's not only what Sascha said, but also it's a difference in culture, of course. But what we have in common is it's perfect. The team here is perfectly motivated and dedicated, and this is what, for us, I guess, counts the most. Yeah, so there are challenges, but not too many.
Perfect. So, Sascha, you can roll the die.
You move your
It's a 4.
4, so you go in front of me. Thomas, your turn. Let's get a 6.
1.
Okay, you are that.
Least. Good. But I have a fast car.
It'll catch up soon. So you all work in a world which most people don't know exists, whether it is wind turbines through mountain passes or factories shipped from continent to continent. And this isn't just logistics, it's working under pressure. So Sascha, this is to you. Describe a real life situation where embedding your team really changed the outcome for the project.
I mean, this starts in daily cooperation. My team is in daily contact with the team here. And as I mentioned before, there's a knowledge transfer. Further to that, we had a situation where we delivered high value goods of big size here to India for one of our key customers. And we even decided to send somebody here to monitor the situation in the port, the unloading from the breakbulk vessel, loading the trucks, and of course, along with the colleagues from here. So also one colleague here of this office joined our surveyor in the port. And this is most important, to have a close cooperation, to be together on the ground, to get such projects also successfully executed.
So in India, the complexity is different. It's not just the cargo, it's the terrain, it's the infrastructure gaps, and the last mile chaos. So Sundresh, what's the hardest project that you have ever moved on Indian soil?
I think the hardest that, more specifically from a project logistics standpoint, that we ever handled was, if you recollect, 2013, there was a Kedarnath debacle when we had the whole mountain actually coming down, and it was flash floods and stuff like that. We had a very integral bridge, which was in a city called Sonprayag, just got washed away. A lot of trucks, buses, the whole roads, everything just got washed away. That project, we were to handle it. It was given to an American company to get a fully ready-made steel bridge, the only steel bridge right now in India, and to go and make it completely. So full ready-made bridge, we got it from the US. Came in multiple containers. We opened up a small-time camp office in a dry riverbed in Dehradun. That's why we transferred it, because up the hill you have load restrictions, you have dimensional restrictions because of the road truck. We transferred it to smaller trucks, and we got it delivered. So we set up a camp office in Sonpriyag, and our job included not just to deliver the load, but also to the other side of the river where there's no bridge. Of course, it is a lot of support by the border road organizations, the army, the police. Everybody really helped us because it was for the nation. Very proudly, we delivered it before time. And this is in 2013, and that's one of the proudest moments that at least I have in my record of having delivered this bridge in India. It's really commendable.
Absolutely.
A lot of breakages happen. I mean, I can tell you that the main crane that was positioned there in Sonpriyag up just collapsed one day, malfunction. So we had to haul another crane down from Dehradun up, load it up on a truck, then take it back again all the way there for the operations to continue. So, these things happen, but yet overall we delivered it before time. I'm very, very proud of that bridge. Even today, when I see the bridge and if I ever pass through it, I'll love it. Because so there's a big shrine, Patric, in the called Kedarnath. It's a Hindu temple, revered by a lot of people. People could not visit the temple because the whole road was blocked. The only way we could go.
And sometimes I think that's where as entrepreneurs, despite how much we want to do in terms of a volume of our output, the value of our impact always surpasses, and one of the examples that you've mentioned is exemplary for that. Yeah. So Thomas, you coordinated a large scale steel pipes project that was supposed to move them across 3 countries onto the German rail. And that's not just a logistical project. It's like creating a symphony altogether. So in this RWE pipe project, what was a single point of failure that you are concerned about?
As you said, it's quite a huge one, and we have to handle a lot of vessels. So this is, I guess, the biggest challenge was for us the time schedule. So it is not, the project is split into 2 phases. The first phase is done now with 50% of the cargo, and the remaining 50% will ongo from mid of next year. So having said this, the biggest challenge was really the scheduling, because we had 2 vessels, complete vessels a month with a certain delivery period. And we overcome this situation by sourcing it from a single carrier. Yeah, so we contracted it to one carrier, not on the spot market, where you face a lot of problems, maybe. So, but we wanted to have the quality and to ensure that the vessel is there once we need it. This went out perfectly. The client is very happy, was happy, is happy, will be happy in the future. We can ensure that. And that was our biggest challenge in this. Yeah.
So everyone talks about China plus one, but doing that with industrial cargo is very different than doing it with consumer goods. And it's a very different challenge altogether. So Patric, you have moved on India as well as Vietnam. And my question is, why now? What do you see in these markets that probably your competition is missing right now?
Yeah, first of all, from a GDP perspective, Vietnam and India are one of the fastest growing economies in the world, which we know. Mainly Southeast Asia and India came on our map because our customers in Europe are starting to source more in Southeast Asia and India, and also to produce more cargo or more goods. And it's a demand from our customer base to be there on site to ensure quality across the supply chain on a high standard. And that's why we took the chances first to set up a new office in Vietnam. And later, since I know Sundresh already since more than a decade, we had our mutual talks and came to terms and conditions to join forces.
Okay. So, Sundresh, you are the one who is turning that strategic bet of expanding into India into reality, a daily reality on ground. And so, what's one thing that you feel European companies get totally wrong about Indian supply chains? And what do you think Drewes is doing differently?
Interesting question. One thing which they're so used to things being done their way. It's not that simple and easy in India. We have a huge, for example, documentational process to go through everything, whether it's a customs process or a filing with the liners or various things processes that we go through. So they don't they take some time to understand how India moves. So that's where a big difference between what the way they work and we do it here. But what Drewes is doing differently is that we are coming on the same tech platform, which means we're learning from them to do it, how to do the same job much faster. Our teams are coordinating much more better because if it's just issuing a documentation, how quickly do they adapt to it and how late we do it. So that helps us deliver to our customers a much better, faster, quicker response, and then give them better service than our competition.
So I think it's just sort of getting the best of both worlds and sort of going together to make sure that the desired outcome is coming.
Absolutely.
That's
And
cool.
also serving global accounts. Accounts we have also in India, multinational corporations as customers who are based in Europe, in India, in Asia, in the US. We want to offer the full scope and with the best service and quality.
5.
5. Let's just come there.
1, 2.
Let me open this card first, and then we
Yeah.
roll again for you. So this is an emergency update from Suez Canal Authority. A massive cargo ship has run aground, completely wedging itself back to back. World's busiest maritime artery is paralyzed. Your cargo is stuck in a massive queue. So you need to roll again, and we need to see which path you can take.
My God. The Suez Canal. Oh my God. You got 9.
Wow. This one?
I like your card.
The client is desperate. They've authorized an emergency air charter.
Wow, I love me.
So offload in Dubai and fly to Germany and then truck to France. Wow. That's...
Finally, 6 and 6. Ah, baby, Achtung. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
Oh, only 4.
4. This is you.
Yeah.
So he was in the foggy.
No, ये इधर आ गया ये actually.
अच्छा, इधर?
हाँ बोल.
1, 2, 3, 4. Foggy area. Yeah.
Yep.
So attention pilot. JFK International is experiencing extreme congestion and heavy fog. All landing slots have been revoked and the cargo terminal is at a standstill. We are low on fuel and must divert.
So where does he go?
Someone can manage this situation.
So you need to
Sascha.
move back 2 steps. So aging fleets, shipyards overbooked by container lines, and no multi-purpose builds inside. And on top of it, clients are demanding green logistics, right? So Thomas, you have said that the 7-year shipping cycle is dead. So how do you look at vessel capacity for 2027 and 2028 when normal is no longer the scenario right now?
This is a very good question, an interesting question presently nowadays. Why? This first is definitely the capacity question, because as you rightly said, there are not hardly any new buildings, but less than we definitely would need. As it seems right now, there are a lot of overaged or coming into the years vessel, up to 20 years or slightly above, which is a burden. But then, in addition of that, we have the crisis over all the world. Yeah, the blocking of the Red Sea, blocking of Strait of Hormuz, And all of that brings us to into a situation where the capacity is definitely not there, resulting in higher prices for the customers. Yeah, so this is an overall. So we cannot look at the 7-year cycle anymore. This is gone as we see it now. Yeah, because so years back, we always had this 7 years wave. That's right. But from a nowadays perspective, we have to say and to see there are a lot of crises coming up. Somehow it's Corona, it's Red Sea, it's whatever you call it.
Geopolitical situation.
It's really this is really the biggest problem we are facing now, and it's just not 7 years. It's no one can predict it anymore.
So, Patrick, you wrote your doctorate in sustainability and shipping in 2011, and much before when it became fashionable. So, how has that research helped you with operations at Drewes today, especially in heavy lift, which is one of the most hardest sector to decarbonize?
Back in the days, coming from or finishing my university degree, I decided to do a PhD in corporate sustainability management in container shipping, because at that time I had some ideals, especially regarding ecological goals, so I focused mainly on Japanese companies at that time, NYK, who were already leaders in the sustainability sector, and who had already the sustainability reports established, who implemented ecological and social goals on a strategic and operational levels in the offices, but also ashore, on sea with their vessels, who already were leaders in certain technical measures to reduce oil consumption, also the carbon footprint. But in shipping, it's also about NOx and SOx exhaustion. So then shifting into after my degree, I shifted into the forwarding or logistics business, and this was a bit shocking, I must say, because we tried at certain points to offer also ecological concepts, for example, combination, shift more cargo from trucking onto barges, shift more cargo on rail. So sometimes these solutions were, or most of the time, these solutions were more expensive, and I did not really experience so many customers who decided for the more expensive but ecological solution, or more ecological friendly solution. So in the real world, sustainability was not a big topic in the last 10, 20 years. I think in the last 3-4 years, it became more and more on the agenda again, mainly driven from certain industries who more and more established sustainability goals in their strategy. But to be honest, it's also a luxury issue. So if the economy is going well, I have the impression this topic is more important than it maybe is today again. So if you look, for example, at the steel industry, which is suffering quite big time presently in Europe, they have green tech steel. They developed that in the last years, but seriously, it's not so many OEMs are buying this kind of steel right now, because at the end they also have a lot of pressure right now. The market is tough.
So what I understand is that the pricing premium that a buyer needs to pay for ecologically sustainable product or service is quite high, and even though the gap has reduced over the years in terms of that, especially because it's now driven by authorities, we have the carbon tax coming into the picture as well. But is it just merely a checkbox at this point for many of the industries, or do you really think people moving in that direction? Yeah.
I think the main driver, as you just said, should be the government or the international organizations like the IMO in shipping or the IATA in air freight, these are the ones, but they are too slow. These are huge organizations. Each member or each country has to ratify certain new regulations like MARPOL, and it's just taking ages. So yeah, and on the other hand, the big corporations, I think there are certain steps forward. We can see more and more customers approaching us. We are also establishing more and more ecological and social goals within our corporation. We have the EcoVadis label established, trying to reach even a better level within our corporation. There are certain medal degrees you can achieve, and this is the way forward. But personally, I think we should be much faster in this world because, we all know that
climate change
yes,
is a real
and the world is suffering. But also in India, from this week being here, I must say I have the impression that India is moving forward big time. It's much cleaner than 10 years ago. China is the same, and I think the people are more sensible to this topic, especially the younger generation.
So, just coming back to the question on sustainability, and I think it's a topic of intrigue for me as well. Especially with the climate change that's happening around right now. So, do you think, from a regulation standpoint, the carbon tax that has come into the picture, it sort of balances out for the pricing premium that a sustainable product or service might provide in general? Or do you think so at this point, is it more of a regulation thing or more of an adoption thing by industry? So where do you think we're sort of behind?
I think it's a regulation thing. Coming from Europe, I think it's a problem that we have also so many local decisions, like, for example, EU ETS charges in maritime shipping, which is a disadvantage for our market. We need global solutions, but as we all know, it's very, very difficult to achieve those. We even have problems to achieve European solutions on our continent. So but Europe and Germany puts itself economically in a disadvantage how these topics are treated right now.
Thank you.
But there's certainly a global shift in that as well, Shreya. I think we had a meeting 2 days back with one of our clients in Mumbai, and they're actually telling us how can we shift the domestic movement from a regular truck to an EV truck.
Right.
Because they also want to offset the carbon footprint that they're spreading in the country. And a request like this coming in from a client directly to us, I think it speaks volumes that people are really looking at sustainability as a solution, not just a compliance thing as well.
So everyone in logistics is talking about AI and blockchain, but no algorithm saves a turbine when it's not able to fit in a tunnel. There's something irreducibly human about what you do. So, Thomas, you have doubled down on face-to-face relationships in a digital-first world. Where does technology genuinely help, and where does it fall short, as per you?
Certainly, AI is of help, as you can imagine, in different fields, even in our job. It supports very much. But the biggest problem and burden here is that we have to learn how to use it correctly, not to make mistakes. And in this respect, we have to have workshops with our people in order to teach them, because it's a huge risk involved. It's not that we can always rely on the answers of AI. So there's a human factor in, and this we should always consider. So I would say this is the biggest thing we have to watch out.
Okay. So, Sundresh, you balance a lot of load planning along with ground level intuition, across India's supply chain logistics. And you spent 13 years studying photography. So which is fundamentally about seeing what others cannot,
That's right.
right? So how do you think that has helped you in your field? That is something I want to ask you today.
Oh, nice. Thank you. So I think anything that I do has actually helped me become the individual that I am. So photography certainly helped me see things differently, which are general things, but people don't see it. But since my eye is now trained, I get to see it. I was fortunate enough. We just lost a great photographer of India, Raghurai. Uh, but I had the fortunate chance of learning from him also. We have shot the Mahakumbh together, but teaches us how to be humble, how to be quietly hidden in the crowd, yet see things differently, and that's what differentiates. Also, when I used to run a lot, that also taught me long distance running, which Patrick does now pretty regularly, and I don't. But when I was running marathons, it teaches you resilience. It teaches you controlling your mind and then going through. And all this, I think, shapes up to what we do in logistics as well, because uh, per se as an industry, at times it can be very tiring on your body and mind. And if you can really, all these things really can help you control and then, act on it and move forward. So certainly all this helps. Thanks.
So, as we know, logistics is becoming increasingly software driven, from route simulation to cargo visibility to predictive planning as well as digital twins. But adoption in industrial sectors is often very slow and complex as well. So, this is an open question for all of you. What are some of the technologies or softwares that you rely on today, and what is the next piece of technology that you think can genuinely change how the industry functions for you?
Well, we are working already since, you can say, decades with transport management systems, helping us in daily business, no, with regard to documentation, to control the shipment flows, and so on. But there are more tools which we already added, some recently also added, like calculation of a carbon footprint, to have a project control tower in place, yes, for specific customers or projects where everything can be displayed. For some customers, we are working also with cloud solutions. So if required or if they ask for it. So this means there's, you can say a central desk where we are sharing documents, reports, photos, pictures, whatever is required or defined. But there's more to come, definitely. It's not limited to it. As Thomas already mentioned, AI plays a crucial role. It is a tool which we need more to implement also in our company. Must be a daily tool like, I mean, I maybe I'm a bit old-fashioned, but there was a time when there was Google new. Nobody used to work with it. And for me, is AI similar? You have to ask the right questions, maybe also different questions to find also the right answers. And you cannot rely on it. And that's the challenge we have.
Thomas, your perspective?
Fully agree. Nothing to add on it. Especially, I mean, all the programs we are using, they are continuing or getting improved in a way. So, of course, as Sascha said, the progress is there for each and every program, and we have to see again the biggest challenge is AI.
Patrick, your view on this?
I think there are a lot of small steps we can still achieve in a positive way using technology, digitalization process, and also AI, especially what you mentioned regarding global supply chains and certain events happening in the world where you have to act quickly. I think AI has a huge potential. This is something we are currently not yet using, but we are working on, and then overall, it's a continuous process within the company to digitalize. Still in project logistics, a lot of our customers are still working with Excel sheets. I'm sure this is not necessary, and step by step will diminish. But mutually, we have to work on this continued.
Sundresh, your view.
No, it's. I think all the points made by three of them are absolutely correct because as as Patrick just mentioned, which is so true. More specifically to India, a lot of people are still working on Excel sheets,
Yes.
and that really complexes up to the problems. So the more solutions that we have on that technology side, it really helps us.
I think how I see it as is like, usually like people are working in silos in many
Yeah,
cases, and
absolutely.
especially with like a global firm. It's essential to sort of have a centralized way
Correct.
and a centralized repo to start with, and then build your infrastructure around it, and then build the AI layer around it. So I see it that way.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to sort of understand your perspective around this thing, that between the four of you, you have almost centuries of experience in logistics and operating over three continents in one of the most volatile supply chain environments in history. So can you talk about volatility and what is your perception around it, and how have you survived through these years in this industry that's so much impacted by the environment and not just one factor?
Sure, I think the geopolitical factors play a very important role in our industry per se. The ongoing war on Iran impacted us pretty heavily in terms of increased transit time for vessels. There were space restrictions for aircraft to fly over with no-fly zones. And when the bombing got extended to all over the Middle East, so the business from India to Middle East was very big, also impacted pretty badly. Similarly, if there are tariffs been applied by one country, it impacts us pretty badly. So I think overall, it's a very volatile industry. I think resilience is the only thing that we still yet have to work, think out of the box, find different solutions. And the last 3 to 4 months, if you see, given the existing war, geopolitical situation with Iran, I think the entire industry has actually come together to find different solutions. If not this here, and if not this here, if not air, we can truck it, whichever way it may be. But we've come up finding solutions to all problems.
True, but this is one thing. The most important thing I would say here is that you need deep partnerships on both sides, to the clients and to the supplier side. So you go through together. Yeah. So it is sometimes it's the supplier side suffering, sometimes it's the client side. We are mostly in the middle, and somehow we have to see to compromise. Yeah. So and also to suffer a little bit here and there. But this gives confidence, of course, on both sides again, which is the key factor, at least how I see it. Yeah.
And I think the industry has adapted as well they are searching for closer partnerships with the logistics service providers, reducing the logistics service providers they are interacting with, because it's more a partnership on eye level today, because they experienced how important trust and continuity is. I can confirm what Thomas is saying. It's absolutely the case.
Yeah, how I grow in this business. I was always keeping my values. It is most important, and there's no discussion about that. These are not volatile. It's very important to that the customers can count on fairness, accountability, integrity. If a customer recognizes this, then it's a long-term customer, and this is most important in our business.
And so with that, we have come to a close for our podcast for today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you had a good time.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you so much for having us over to start with. More importantly, it was fun playing
The road
game,
less taken.
the roadmap. It was pretty interesting. It made podcast a very different outlook and not just a boring one-on-one discussion. It should also be interesting to all the listeners. I hope we also gave you the right answers that you were seeking.
Absolutely.
And look forward. So wish you all the best, Shreya.
Thank you. As you saw, we had an amazing conversation with Patrick, Thomas, Sascha, as well as Sundresh from Drewes, which is an amazing company that's not only in Germany but expanding all over Southeast Asia. And with the current FTAs in place between Europe and India, it makes for such a good time to collaborate and learn about different industries. So, till the next time we meet in our podcast, we should remember that the road less taken is not always so bad. I mean, despite all of so many environmental factors affecting the logistics industries, these people still made sure that they stuck around and they succeeded in their fields. So, see you then.